Bismillah. Welcome back, Zoo Crew, and Jummah Mubarak. So, I had been contemplating going to London for my brother's wedding, and I think I'm stable enough now that I would have been able to travel. However, I checked the flights and it's like $2,000 to go, and then that got me thinking. So, when we had gone to Saskatoon, our tickets were like almost $3,000. And initially I was like, why the fuck is it so expensive to go to Saskatoon? But I'm guessing now it's because of how like close to the date it was when we booked the tickets. Because then just for fun, I checked yesterday, like how much is the flight to Saskatoon if I was to go in like March or something. And it was like $400, you know? Because my mom, when she bought her tickets for London, she got hers for like $900. And then so I mean, realistically, yeah, I could have gone, and I'm sure my parents would have been fine to like pay for the ticket. But then I had been like contemplating it, and then I messaged my parents in the morning, and then my dad was like, "Okay, well, like hurry up and decide. Like you have to figure it out now. Like if you're going, like rush, you know." So then I was thinking about like what we discussed yesterday. So I was like, you know what? In this case, it's better that I don't go just because I don't want to rush, you know? And like I would have wanted to make my decision after Jummah prayer because the flight would have been at like 9:50. So I had probably until like 6:50 to get to the airport, maybe even 7:50, you know? So all in all, like I didn't appreciate like the fact that he was like, oh, like rush, go, 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 and it's like, bro, just chill out. Also, he was like, oh, well, why didn't you just like come initially when we told you? And I was like, first of all, like y'all told me about the like everybody going for his wedding after the Japan trip had been planned. And then like I wasn't mentally in the right headspace to travel the same day as you guys. So like chill out, bro, you know? So all in all, like I guess it wasn't meant to be. And yeah, I could have forced and gone, but it's like it's more important for me to just like make sure I'm stable. And like I do feel stable now and like back to my normal self. And I have many, many things that I still need to get done, like posting all these fucking clips, getting my ebook out, amongst some other things, you know. However, my to-do list has been getting a bit smaller, so that's nice. But yeah, you know, so it's good to see that I'm kind of like able to implement this lesson that I realized already. And then I guess the other thing I realized is so the last time like I spiraled this bad or like me and Mina had like our major breakup and we like broke up for like 2 months type of thing. It was really rough and it took me, so I guess we broke up like September, right? And then it took me to like halfway through November, actually more than halfway through November, probably like November fucking 25th or some shit to like get back to like a baseline of stable, right? So this time it took me maybe like 3 to 5 days and I didn't spiral nearly as bad. I was tempted to go back to some of my bad vices, you know. However, I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna control myself, self-discipline, you know. I don't need these like destructive habits. And alhamdulillah, I'm glad I was able to get to the other side without having to like touch this stuff, you know. So I guess my resilience has gone up and my fortitude has gone up because like one, I didn't spiral as bad and I wasn't spiraling for as long and it didn't take me as long to recover. And really it's just that like my old operating system just reinstalled and I was like unaware of this, and in the moment I couldn't realize like how much discipline I had just kind of let go of and how much my like habits and routines actually were like affecting my like life and like keeping me quote unquote stable, you know what I mean? So that's pretty cool for me to see. And then the other thing is like in terms of like overthinking, right? Like I'd made a video about this before where like if you're depressed, it's because you're thinking too much about the past or like living too much in the past. And if you're anxious, it's because you're living too much in the future. But I think it goes beyond that when like you are overthinking. It's like you're trying to control the future, or you're like trying to predict outcomes, and then you kind of just get stuck in this like loop where you're just trying to like figure out the future instead of just having like faith in God and like trusting that his plan is going to be better than any plan you could have, right? And then I guess the other part of it is when you're like a high performance type of person, or somebody with a growth mindset, somebody who sets goals, somebody who wants to like reach their full potential, it's very easy to get to like a place where you're just beating yourself up, right? And that's why I think it's important to practice gratitude, because there's a lot of people I know, like even myself or like even Mina, like we've accomplished a lot in our lives. And then like if we're comparing with other people, like it's very easy to just kind of be like, oh, like I'm so far behind in life, you know? And yeah, like so it's important to kind of like journal. And then I guess you could even say like me doing these vlogs and like recounting my day, it's like a form of journaling, right? Obviously, like using a written journal is also beneficial because like you're taking the thoughts out of your head, and then you can kind of like talk to yourself or like process your thoughts, and it kind of removes the power of that thought, right? So while it's in your head, it's very hard to like kind of make sense of it. It's like if, and like I heard this quote in like a video, and essentially he was saying that like if you're gonna go and build a bridge, or like you're an architect, like you could design and plan as much as you want in your head, but there's no architect who's doing like designing a whole bridge in just their head, like they're using pen and paper, right? And then this ties into like why it's important to like have a nice notebook, have a nice pen, because then you'll enjoy journaling more, right? So like I do have this is like the first kind of nice fountain pen I bought. It's by Cross, and this is a fine nib pen. It has my name engraved on it. And then today was the first day, so I finally put some ink into this bad boy, the Mont Blanc 149. And what a great pen. What a great pen, you know? Shout out to Mina, literally the greatest gift ever. So I finally got around to putting some ink in it and then using it to journal, and it's by far my most favorite pen of life. It's a medium nib pen, so it's much easier to write with. The ink flows a lot nicer. And who knows, maybe I'll get into like calligraphy or something now. But the point being, like if you have a nice notebook and you have a nice pen, you'll enjoy journaling more, and you'll find it becomes an easier habit to build. And journaling is a very good habit to have, especially if you're someone like me where you overthink a lot, or you get depressed easily, or you just get overwhelmed easily, you know? Taking the thoughts out of your head and dumping them into a notebook, super helpful. And again, like this is something that I found was good, but then I stopped being consistent with it. And I mean, the good thing is like I've built this habit and now doing these videos every day. So it's not like I had completely stopped journaling. I'd been doing these like video journals to an extent, you know, because initially this whole channel started with me just talking about what's going on in my day and like recounting the day or like the life lessons of the day. And then I kind of started talking about like actual topics and like putting more thought into it. Still like no script or anything. Like I just come hit record and like talk. And then, yeah, so I mean like the habit has always been there. It's just that I wasn't maintaining writing journaling, or like written journaling, you could say. And I think that kind of also played a role in everything just becoming like overwhelming, or like me having these thoughts that weren't necessarily true, or thoughts that I thought were true, you know? And then again, same thing with like being grateful, because so like if you're looking at people who have more than you in life or are further ahead of you in life, you will always feel depressed. But if you're looking at people who have less than you or are like behind you, you won't feel like bad or stressed out, you know? And like, I guess we could use Mina as an example for this, because she's what, like 27, but she literally became a doctor at 22, right? And then the people who are her age that work with her are like front desk, like receptionist or like vet techs. And then like she would get bogged down and be like, oh, like I'm not a good doctor, or like I feel like I'm not like smart. And it's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like you're literally a doctor, bro, and you're only like 27. Most people are not that young and like a doctor. And like if you're comparing with like people who have been doing this and like they're in their 30s, like late 30s, like older than me, or like in their 50s or 60s, like obviously they're gonna have more experience and more knowledge than you, right? So it's like, so it's important to like be grateful and kind of like recalibrate and look at where you are in life, and then also be able to like look at where you were a year ago, or like 3 months ago, or like 10 years ago, right? And that's, I guess, one of the cool things about social media, or like creating content rather, not really social media. And like, even if you're like doing videos and vlogging, like you don't even have to post it. It's just a good way to like capture where you are in life at that any given moment, so you can go back and like look at it, right? Same thing with a journal. Like if you've been journaling for like a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, whatever, now you have this like archive of what your thought process was, or what you were thinking from like 10 years ago, and you can compare it to how you're thinking now, right? So even like before I started this journey, like I was journaling, and like I can go back and read what I was thinking like when we broke up, and like how like sad I was and how anxious I was. And pretty much it felt like, so because like our relationship, as much as it was like up and down or like toxic and shit, like we were pretty much a married couple. Like we were living together, we were like doing everything together. Like that was my best friend. And then when she blocked me, it was like this person just died, so it's like I lost a piece of my life. And like going through like the grief and the mourning, it was super fucking hard. And then same thing this time, like I think that's why I spiraled so bad. But because I'd already gone through this and like documented the process, I could kind of like recalibrate, and then remember that, okay, first I have to get stable. First I have to like focus on myself. And then another thing I realized is, or it's like a quote that I read where it was, if you're over giving, eventually you're going to be empty, right? And being like a people pleaser, and like really it goes even beyond that, because like if I'm in love with somebody, like I want to do anything and everything I can do for that person, even if they're not able to reciprocate it, just because that's how I am. And I guess that is my people pleasing tendency. And then that leads me to kind of burning out or getting empty, because like I'm just, instead of like pouring into myself, I'm like pouring everything into somebody else, right? And then that becomes a lot of pressure for that person, because now it's like, first of all, can they even reciprocate that? And then like second of all, like it's just a lot. And I guess I wasn't aware of how much pressure it is to be on the receiving end. It was just like, and then I would be like, oh, like this person's like ungrateful, or like they don't appreciate it. And it's like, well, maybe they do appreciate it and maybe they are grateful, but it's just that like they're not in a position to reciprocate, right? And then like taking for granted the things they were doing, or like the way she was showing care to me, and all of the little things she was doing. And again, like I realized this before last time we broke up, like we show love in different ways, and it's like I became blind to all of the little things she was doing, and like the effort she was putting in, and like how much she was trying to make things work. And like had I been journaling, I probably could have processed and realized like, oh, these are all like false thoughts. So yeah. And then like again, like the universe and God works in such mysterious ways, because when I was like at Jummah prayer, the khutbah today, he's talking about like how you have to control your tongue, and like how like that can lead you astray and create a lot of damage in your life. And that's literally what happened to me. It's like I'm not like physically abusive or like these kind of things. Like I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna go and beat somebody up. I think that's because of like my Taekwondo background, where it's like self-control and like don't go and like physically assault people. But then because of like the environment I grew up in, I tend to use words to attack people, or like make them feel small. And like I can be very, very cruel when I want to be with my words, and like I know how to like push people's buttons or like what to say to like have a get a reaction out of somebody. Plus, like, I'm pretty strategic in the sense that I can think like and see 10, 20 steps, 300 steps ahead, right? So, like, if I get into a fight with somebody, like, and it's like some kind of argument, like, I will always win the argument. And it's a very destructive and like toxic habit, you know? And this is why I'm really like leaning towards now, like just getting rid of my fucking iPhone or just getting like a regular flip phone and like keeping my iPhone as just like a productivity tool on the side. Like if I need to like take a photo or like when I'm transferring the video from the Osmo Pocket to the phone to upload it to YouTube or like these kind of things, and just not having that be my main phone or my main device, because this way I won't get caught in these cycles where I'm just like texting shit that I shouldn't be texting. And a lot of the times, like, I think this is true for most people, like, that's why they call them keyboard warriors. Like, it's very easy to say anything and everything when you're hiding behind the screen. And in most cases, you wouldn't really say that in person. However, like, that's not true for me because, like, the shit that I say online, like, I'm the same in real life as I am online, you know? So, like, if I have the balls to say something to you over text, like, I have the balls to say it to your face, you know? But it's just that, like, having that extra step, like if I'm like on a flip phone, like I'm not gonna spend fucking, I'm not gonna be writing out essays on my phone because like T9, right? Like you're not gonna push one button 3, 4 times to get to one letter. So it removes the like possibility of me going down that path and then like destroying my life or like creating issues in my life and like picking fights with people that I shouldn't be picking fights with, whether that's like Mina, whether that's like my siblings, my relatives, or whoever it is, you know what I mean? And on the flip side, he was saying like sometimes you'll say something and you won't think it's like a big deal, but like to God, it's like a big deal. And then, so use your like words for good. Don't use your words for bad. Like don't be harming people with what you say. And if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything, you know? Obviously easier said than done, especially when like your emotions are all riled up and you're like caught in the heat of the moment, you know? So yeah, I mean, all in all, it's been a pretty good day, you could say. I'm starting to get back into the swing of things. I am definitely feeling more like myself. However, still have a few more things I got to get done. There is a talk about like preparing for Ramadan going on today at Masjid Bilal after the Isha prayer at 7:30. So I'll probably go check that out and then potentially hit up the gym, but it might be a bit late to do that, you know? So, oh, and then I did hear back from Civic Motors and they were like, oh yeah, my bad, bro. Like it's been super busy. But again, this is like the stupidity of me. Like I sent them an email being like following up and like, I'll be in Japan. So like, I won't be able to come in for an interview on like these days. And then like, sure enough, like I'm not in fucking Japan. So I had to like reply back being like, oh, yo, my bad. Like my trip got canceled, you know? Like, so had I just waited a little bit, they would have reached out anyways. But like, I was in such a rush that now I look like an idiot, you know, or just like impatient. And then outside of that, like that viewing I was supposed to have like a couple days ago, it got canceled because of like the snow day. So I'm waiting to hear back from them because I do want to go check out that place. And most probably I will move downtown just because it's like I could move to Barhaven or somewhere close to Prio, but then if I end up getting the job at Civic Motors, that's going to be one hell of a drive. Whereas if I'm downtown, like it's the same distance to get to Prio or to Civic Motors. And what I'm realizing is I need to be close to a good life. Like either I can walk there within 5 to 10 minutes or I can drive there within 5 to 10 minutes, because anything more than that, it just becomes a hassle. And I think, yeah, it just becomes a hassle. Like, because where I'm living right now in Finley Creek, like I literally have to drive either 20 minutes to Orleans or 20 minutes to Barhaven just to get to the gym. And then let's say I work out for like 40 minutes. Like I'm literally spending the same amount of time in traveling there and back, you know? Whereas like right now, because I'm at my parents' house, like Good Life is literally like 5 minute drive away, not even. Same thing like when I'm staying at Mina's house, like Good Life's literally 5 minute drive away, you know? And it becomes easier to like go when you're not like wasting time traveling there, right? So yeah, I gotta, like that's one of the reasons why I decided not to go to London, is just that let me figure out where exactly I'm gonna move to, because tomorrow's February 1st, so I have like 15 days in my hand to find a place, and I want to like check a few places before I decide. And then my parents are like, oh, what's the rush? Like, worst case, like you can just move back here. And it's like, no, you know, because even now, like I'm here in their house, but as like I'll be gone before they come back, type of thing. You know what I mean? Just because when I was like feeling anxious and like yeah, when I was like having my like major anxiety attacks and like panic attacks, I came here. But then as soon as I kind of like calmed down and like I was around them, I was like, oh, this is not the right environment, right? So like I should not be here. So generally, like for my mental health, it's not good for me to be around my parents for long durations of time, or like living with them, you know? However, like worst case scenario, if I can't find a good place to move to, then yeah, I mean, and like let's say I get the job at Civic Motors, like yeah, cool. Like I could live here for a little bit while I'm like finding a new spot, but it's very, very likely that I would fall into some bad habits, or be like running away from my problems, or just like caught in some like toxic loops and shit that, you know, because really like this was the main reason that like Mina asked me to move in with her initially when we first started dating, was because she realized like the environment I'm in is not good. And even myself, like I've been trying to get out of this house, or like not living with my parents for pretty much my whole life after high school. So like 2010 till now, you know what I mean? So yeah, all in all though, like that's my update for y'all today, Zoo Crew. I know some of you thought, even myself, I thought maybe I'd be in London or like on my way to London today. However, it seems that's not in the plans, you know? So I will attend my brother's wedding via the online. So like maybe they'll call me through WhatsApp or some shit. Same thing, like I will live through Damon and Ron vicariously. So whatever they post, or like whatever photos and videos they send me, that'll be like me being with them in spirit and enjoying Japan, you know? So yeah, peace out, Zoo Crew.